Special thanks to Wiley Animations for providing us with today's MSM Draw. Submit a drawing prompt with the hashtag MSM Draw in this video for a chance for it to be drawn in the next one. Alright class, settle down. Let's begin today's lesson of what's in a name. The two monsters that we'll be looking at in today's episode are the Dipsters and the epic Jeeode. So let's start firstly with the Dipsters. The name Dipster is a combination between dip and monster, dip being the primary thing that they sing. The first name we can get from the Dipsters is ascendip, which is ascend and dip. In a musical sense, ascending is when you go up a scale, when you increase the pitch of notes to make them go higher. The next name we can get is boundling. Bound means to move by leaping, which is what the Dipsters are known for. They leap out of the holes in their ground and they sing their song. Crescendip is a combination of crescendo and dip. Crescendo is a musical term in which the notes you're playing are increasingly getting louder. And Dave is a reference to the voice actor of the Dipsters, Dave Kerr, one of the creators of My Singing Monsters. It could also be a reference to the statue of David, carved by Michelangelo. If we look at the true body of T, we can see that it is the David statue, so maybe a little bit of a reference to that. The term dots is just a misspelling of the word dots, which two of the Dipsters have. And derms is a combination of worm and dermis. Dipsters are, in a sense, sort of worm-like, and dermis is an area of the skin. Diggles could be a combination of wiggles, dig, and also piggle, which means to root around in the dirt, something that Dipsters do. And dippity is just a pun off of dip. Dipitch is a combination of dip and pitch, and doodah comes from doodad, which are the little things that the Dipsters keep on top of their heads. Doops could be oops or boop, that starts with a D because Dipsters start with a D, they say dip, so doop. And doo-wopple could come from doo-wop, which is an old type of music that used to be sung. Grumbler is just a cute name for the Dipsters. And Little Dipper comes from the constellation Little Dipper, and also mainly because the Dipsters say dip. Mellifluon comes from the term mellifluous, which means musical, or pleasing to hear. And like Grumbler, Nibbler is just a cute name. Noodles could refer to the head of the Dipster because they keep all sorts of different things on top of their head, and it also, maybe because it reminds me of orzo noodles. Pitch is just referring to the vocal tone or what note you're going to be singing in music, and planters reference the holes that the Dipsters are in. Planters are what you put a plant in. Plutes comes from the combination of the words plant and roots, and ranger references a vocal range, essentially the lowest note compared to the highest note that a certain instrument or person can sing. Scale star is just referencing that Dipsters are good at going up and down the scales. Maybe it's also a combination between scales and monster, as well as scales and star. Scopester is referring to the scope of music and also Dipster or monster. Stipgato is a combination of staccato and dip. Staccato is when you play a note, but you play it very shortly, so it's just like one little pop of music, and that's referencing how the Dipsters sing. They have staccato dips, stipgato. Sprites could mean three things. One, sprites could be referencing the Dipster sprites in the game's files. It could be referencing the sort of fairy-like creature that sprites are in real life, or it could be a misspelling of the word stripes, which, like the name dots, some Dipsters have stripes. Treblin is a combination of the word treble, which is a musical reference, and also trembling, or maybe even wobblin, because there is sort of some similarities between the dipsters and the wobblins in their conception. For example, underling. Dipsters are little underground monsters. Underling is also the very first thing that the monster handlers were calling the wobblins. Vegerms is just a combination of vegetables and worms, we can see why, and werbs is a combination of worm, words, and warble. The term geode comes from the word of the same pronunciation, geode, which is a rock with crystal formations inside of it. Now, the names for the epic geode are pretty interesting because they all are referencing actors and directors from the recent movie Uncut Gems. So let's look at some of the name references that the epic geode has. The first one, Benny, comes from Benny Safdie. Bogosian is a misspelling of the actor Eric Bogosian. Bronzestone is a combination of the word stone, because the epic geode is a crystal, and also one of the co-writers for Uncut Gems, Ronald Braunstein. Julia is a combination of the word jewel, because, epic geode is made of crystal, and also Julia Fox, another actor for Uncut Gems. Josh is the brother of Benny Safdie, Josh Safdie, a director for the movie, and Lakeith references Lakeith Stanfield, one of the actors. Menzel comes from the actress Idina Menzel from the movie, and Sandla, of course, is a reference to Adam Sandler from the movie Uncut Gems. Now, the next name, Uncut Gems, well, I wonder what that could be. It is a reference to the movie Uncut Gems. And the final name for the epic geode, Ziesel, could be a reference to Zwiesel Crystal, which is a brand of crystal glass which claims to be the strongest and the most recognized. So, a tie-in to the epic geode being made out of crystal. Alright, and there's the bell, so that means that class is dismissed.